So welcome to your second day of chemistry. It has been a hell of a week. You know, this is exciting. We get stuff breaking down that first week. We get to see how things really work. Normally this happens behind the scenes, but you guys get full experience. That's full experience. Okay, so let's first around all of that. Okay, so everybody can see name, I am, he is, Arch. This is not an English class. I don't know where it came from, but hey, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with it. You guys ready to see the board? Up shop here. How many of you guys are experts? Experts at everything. Huh? Okay. Got it. Close it. Okay. So, anybody on the other side? Anybody good at that? It's just like what I love that. Anybody like? Okay. What do you think? It's okay. It's fun if you understand it. Okay. It's hard. Okay. You're like, I don't like it, period. It's not my thing. Let's get back. You don't like it? Okay. So I'm getting a sense. But unfortunately, you're gonna have to. Right? So there are some things that we're gonna have to. And one of those things is like that. Okay. So this is the last time you guys did that. Summer. High school. Anybody else? When you guys look at home. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna do first. You guys know the difference between positive number and negative? How many guys balance your bill? Make money. Anybody have a budget? You don't have budgets? Let me take a step back. How many of you guys work? You get a paycheck? Yeah. Put it in the bank. Deposit. Right check. Check account. You have a savings account. Okay, so I want to know because I want to know who's going to be taking care of it. No, I'm joking. So if I have this number up there, can anybody tell me what that number is? 100,000. Is it a positive number or a negative number? Positive. Okay, somebody deposit on $100,000 into your bank account, right? Oops, I get $100,000, right? You're okay with that, right? Have you got certain flights for next year? Right? Come on, next year, friends. I need somewhere to put my money. Send me your bank account so you can, so I can do that, right? And then people send them their bank account, they put in $100,000, and then they decide to take out $120,000. So, what happens? Yeah. Let's say $2 in there. $2. What happened? Are you gonna be okay? Huh? What is it gonna be that number? It's gonna be negative, right? Phone call from the bank. They can argue that you're overdrawn by $19,998. No. Okay. So there's a couple of things that we're going to be talking about here. One of them is false controls. The other thing is the concept of a positive and negative number. Because we need to understand positive and negative meaning. So we're also going to put in terms. Yes, positive. Because we're going to talk about that. Okay, so first off, there's this false. Already up here, that's keep looking at. So sig figs. Oh, sorry for the teachers that have. So significant figures. They're important, okay? And figures means important things, right? So significant figures are important figures, okay? Now when we start talking about significant figures, what we're talking about that are important, right? So they're all kind of important, but we have kind of that are going on, okay? One of those rules is, so one of those rules are if there's not a decimal point. Is there a decimal point in any of these numbers? No. No? So then we have those following zeros are not considered significant. They're important, those following zeros are important, but they're not like the most important. They just help us keep track of how big our number is. So for instance, in this case, the zeros are not going to be considered. There's something that we have 10. Right? In this case, we have $10. But we have only one significant figure. Okay? Only one significant figure. For the first case, we have $10, but only one number is significant. And that's going to be that non-zero number. Okay? How you feeling? Not too bad? Okay. In the second case, these are zeros. They're following, right? The 1,000 case, right? In that 1,000 case, those zeros are also not considered significant, right? We only have one significant figure, and that's that one in front. So I'm going to ask you, how many significant figures do we have in that third case? One. Okay, so we have one significant figure. Now, does that mean our value for that one? No, it doesn't. Right? That means that that number is we're not so sure about. When we talk about significant numbers, we're talking about certain. Right? So we could actually have $10, or we could have $11. Right? Nobody knows for sure. We say, that's right? So we write it like that. That's how we write. But if we were sure that we had exactly $10, I would put a decimal point to let you know that I have exactly $10. So if I put a decimal point after that 0 or 10, so now this means, because I took that extra time to put that point there, that means, yeah, I have that 1 and that 0. That 0 becomes significant because I put the decimal point, right? So, can I ask you something? If I everything around this stuff, I say, and then I'm going to on, and the president is on, and Renee is on. First, you can say, where's the money? And I'll do stuff for free, right? Why don't you do stuff for free? Time is like that. Time is money, right? So you don't do it for free. So you don't do anything extra for free, right? So if you do it, that's I need to put a decimal there. Can I just write 1 0? Wouldn't that still be 10? 10 versus 10, right? $10 versus 10. So if you said they don't mean the same thing, you're right. They don't mean the same thing. But if you say them, don't they mean the same things? If somebody tells you I have 10, and they say I have 10, and this person said, well, back to the decimal one. Right? Unless you're a scientist. It means something to us as science. Right? Stick fix means stuff to us. But are different. They're not the same thing. They mean different things. One is 10 decimal. Right? So let's say we have best place to be. Always happens. Oh, no. Okay. Anyway, even if you don't have it, okay. Okay. That's going to be my loop, right? Okay. And then there's somebody that you don't necessarily like, right? Anybody have people like that? I got 2 people not, and everybody else. Nobody, you guys have perfect lives, but you don't have much in your life. Period. That's the problem. You don't. Okay. So anyway, person that you like, you give them a little extra, right? Because they're significant, right? So you put that decimal point there because it's significant, right? Take that extra time out of your schedule, right? Feel good about yourself. Person you like, you don't like, are you? No, I'm not. So, as a direct result, when we're talking about sig figs, the fact that we put that decimal there, it means that it's important, right? It becomes important because we took the time to put that decimal. That's the time schedule. Time is money, this is said, right? So we know that now we have 2 sig figs versus 1 sig fig. Significant sig fig. Okay, so I'm gonna write this in a different number. This guy is 2 sig figs. this is 1 sig fig. Okay? I don't know, damn, I didn't understand. So, what happens if I add a 0 after that decimal point? What do you guys think is happening? Put it up. I'm going to erase this part here. So, now we're doing this. How do you say fix that? Just those who believe it's 2, raise your hand. Those who believe it's 3, raise your hand. Okay. So now this is what you've done. Now what you got? You put a decimal and you put another 0. Is that extra work? Yeah. That's more work. Right? So that tells us immediately, because we have to do that extra work, that 0 has to work. It's like cake, right? So we put that extra time to sit there and give them, right? Take time. Money. So then that means that it becomes significant. So that means that that one has 3 significant figures. Okay, so far our definition is if it's a non-zero number, they're always considered significant. Right? So non-zero numbers are always significant. Once 3, then it's not significant. All right, so you guys can see it. Visuals, copying are 2 different. So that would be 3 significant figures. Okay? We know that if we put a decimal, that's what happens, right? Okay. So if I put a decimal point after that 1, 2, 3, how many sig figs do I have? 3. Although it shouldn't make too much nonsense. Okay, so in both of those cases, we have 3 sig figs. So if I decide to put 2 zeros after, how many sig figs do I have? No, not on the screen. No. That's not right. Because again, I have that extra, right? And then I have to zero that. Oh, really extra. So that means I have to find. Okay. Questions, concerns, catch. Play. No questions, no concerns. Oh, does that mean we're ready to go? We're ready. Okay, so what happens in this situation? Can I erase this? Everybody got this down? How many sig figs do you think that is? 3. Okay, so this is an example of what we call a capture. That non-zero numbers, right? They're always going to be considered significant. Okay, so we have 3 sig figs. Not too hard, right? Just have zeros. Easy. Okay, so let's try to see if you guys are picking up the thing. So if I have this stuff, how many sig figs do I have there? Okay. Okay. Okay, that's that. Okay, so you're gonna ask me why are okay. So purpose is that often will be used to that. Right? So we can take right? And so in one case they have weighted traffic, in another case they have top line. So one case they give us better active results. For other cases they're not active. We're look at they'll be able to sit there and take into consideration that that's okay. Sorry. Okay. And you're just going to be okay. Okay. So I'm going to visit each of them. Right? That's each has scale in the house. Okay. That will really fancy scale, right? Top of the line, very, very active. We're lucky if we get even close, right? And the case is somewhere in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to tell you the weights we're going to take. Weight from different houses, 3 different houses. Can I erase this part, this half here? I want to keep this part here. Good. Okay. Rich. The rich scale tells me I weigh 223.57 pounds. The poor scale tells me I weigh 200 pounds. And the middle class scale tells me I weigh 220 pounds. Now, I can think which one I would pick, right? Your house, right? The poor scale put there nice to the type, right? The mid scale tells me, we're doing okay. I've been working on great. I started off at 225. Do I want to look at the risk scale? Personally, no, right? But if we're trying to do data, so the very first one, how many sig figs for the rich scale? we have 5 significant digits. How many for the poor scale? And how many for the middle class scale? Correct answer is for the middle class scale. 2. Correct answer is 2. First answer. First answer. Okay. So again, we took the time to put the decimal. Right? In the first case, they're all non-zero numbers, right? So as soon as you spell non-zero numbers, you count it all. Second case, we had 1 non-zero numbers and we had 0, 0. We had a decimal point, right? Of course, you can't afford the decimal point. So in that case, we only have 1 significant digit. And in the last case, 2 non-zero numbers. So does that change the value? So if you're giving me the value of it, right, say the last one, what is that value? Are you going to give me 220? First, look. Somebody has to $1. It's money here. Okay, thanks. Maybe 10, 100, 1,000. I don't know about 10. Okay. So we're going to 10 by 20 is a 10. Bro, these jobs. Let's take the steps, right? Okay, so if 10 by 20 is a 10. If my 20 is a 10, okay, I have a 1 and a 10. Are they equivalent? So if I gave her this is a fair trade. Who got robbed? Me. Okay, but she's fine with it, right? I'm not going to pick with that. I don't get robbed. No. Okay, so the values are different because those zeros are placeholders. They let us know that 1 is a 10 and 1 is a 1. Okay? Okay, so here's the rule. Right? If I ask a question about sig figs, and you guys give me in the case of that person, you guys get power in my sig figs question. Okay? Online, I take big money. Okay? So we'll have a little count set up. I use that money for classes and things like that. Just by the end of the year, I think about so it's not pretty well about these classes. You know, okay, so you guys get food about safety. Okay with it? You understand? Okay, now what we do, since we have 3 sources of data, then add them up and take the average, right? But the way we add them up is going to be important. That's also right? Because when we add them up, you're going to take into consideration because that's the which has the first number in the rich. Second number, the poor. Or the third number, the middle class. Second. So what we do is, if we're going to add these up, we draw lines where significant ends. So in this case, significant ends here, right? So we'll draw that line. And the second case, significant And in the third case, significant is here. Okay, so let's go read my calculator. I did the heavy lift. You got your phones, come on, bring on out. Somebody calculate that for me. You guys got it? You already got it? Good. Come on, I should have 50 people putting out their phones. Okay, so it's 643.57. So when we look at this, what we have to do is find the one that has the least amount of speed. That's the one that's going to impact it. And we're going to use that, right? Or the one that's the furthest part of it. So we're going to take that red line. We're going to then take the number that's next to the line, right? And we're going to look at it. If that number is greater than 5, then we're going to round up. Okay? So if that was a 6, then we're going to round our number up. If that number is less than 5, we're going to leave it alone. Leave this number alone. Okay, so 4 is 4 greater than 5 or less than 5? It's less than 5. So then our answer is going to be okay. So how many sig figs do we have here? For that 600. We have 1 sig fig. Okay. You guys see that? So in other words, because that 4 value was so uncertain, it was uncertain, right? That's what we only ended up. Right? Because if it was certain, we gave us better value. Because it was so uncertain, it truly impacted. And so we're taking that straight. So the best that we would say, because we had core data, is that if we add them all together, that's the round. Does that make sense? So in other words, when we're thinking about science, you don't want to overstate, right? You want to be cautious. This is crucial when you're trying to set up limitations for drugs. I did a study. I worked with element of drugs. So, and we were doing world, able to take drug, and from that, we were but how we had a new based on the workforce, and you could take and as a result of it, we started drugs, drugs based on study done. And so what we found out was this whole region that were taking drugs. So the way that you develop resistance that drugs and antibiotics, there is that they don't get into the virus or bacteria or starts to develop things that allow it. so we start noticing what is and so then we have to go back because that kid it knows yeah this back but we have to modify that scale that's right that site those that site so but other sites we were use it and then but we actually had to test beforehand. So a patient would come in, try to test, and then we do it. Right? And so it was a tooth. But they ended up having less. Because you understand, it plays a role. It's crazy, but it does play a role. So you can never overstate. Yes. Yeah, so because this board, we found this, the very first number, that 6 would be, and that one was starting to see because you have values all over. Okay? But we look at the very next, because this doesn't give us an so I get it. It's a little hard. Don't worry about it. Get stuck. So because these 2 zeros here are not significant after the 2, right? That means that we're unsure about those entirely. So when we add everything up, we don't know if it's really, if that's a 4, if that's an 8, it won't be an 8, but 4, if it's a 1, or if it's really a 0, or if it's really just 1999. We're not sure what it is. And so we have to account for the lack of certainty of the 4 scale, right? Because this guy gives us so much certainty. We can't take this value at face value. We can't take it as a 4, right? Because let's say this value here was really a 4. So say that this guy was really a 4, then what would our value be? Would that be closer to 6 or would that be closer to 7? Closer to 7. Well, this guy would be closer to 7, right? That value would be closer to 7. Because we'd add 2 plus 4 plus 4. Isn't that 8? Right? So if that value is a 4, then it would be really closer to 7. So we're basically saying that we have a lot of uncertainty involved, right? If it was actually a 0, then it would be closer to the 6, right? But by us accounting for that uncertainty, it gives us a little bit of cushion, so we don't over administer. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. You guys want to try another one? You guys say you got it. Then I also have to, I forgot to talk about, let me talk about the okay, so let's say we have okay. So if first thing that we want to do is figure out how far to go. In the very first case, where does significant? In other words, which number? What was that? They're all significant. So we draw a line at the very end. Since everything's significant, we're going to draw a line. Right? Okay. In the next case, they're all significant as well. So we're going to draw a line where the decimal place will be. In the next case, same spot or different spot. Where does significant end? The decimal after that 0. So which numbers are significant? 5 and 4. So we're going to draw a number with the 4 and the 0. So after the 4. Okay, and then in the very last case, which is all of them. That's right. All of them are significant. Right at the very end again, we'll make this one a triangle. Okay. Okay. So in this case, you want to go to the point, start from your left-hand side of the screen, and then you move. That very first line is where you're going to decide. That's going to be decided. So very first line that you run across is what? Right. Okay. We're going to make it a square, just in case there's somebody that needs to. Okay. So that square is where we're going to sit there and draw that line. Okay. Now we've got that drawn. Let's go ahead and do the math. Is that right? Okay. So we're going to take a look at that 7. Is that 7 greater than 5? So since that 7 is greater than 5, what is going to be the value that we get? Greater than 5. Okay. 7 is greater than 5. So then what are we going to do? What is going to be our answer? We're going to round up. So give me the answer. Okay, so our answer should be decimal. What? You don't put a decimal, right? Because this case, again, this is uncertainty. This is what we're saying our uncertainty at. Is that so right here we're saying is uncertain. That's why we put that point. Since it's uncertain, we don't want to put a decimal there. If we put a decimal here, this means that we're certain, right? If we put that decimal point there, that means that we're certain. But we don't want to put a decimal there, right? Because we want to make sure that you understand that it's uncertain. You're letting your other scientists know that, hey, we weren't too sure about that number, right? So we're giving you our best estimate. If you put a decimal there, you're saying, I am sure about this. I put a point there to make sure that you know that I am sure if you put a decimal. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk a little bit because you guys had a lot of questions, and then I will also be sending out an announcement. Okay, so you guys online, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Anyone?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
We were.
So we're having a lot of technical difficulties on site today at the campus with obviously the network. The network dropped out for a minute and I lost you guys. So I'm going to do a lot of my recording at the other campus. I have to drive to the other campus for another class. I'm very mobile. I heard that there were some difficulties and I wanted to clarify some things. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to clarify, this lecture is an optional lecture. It is not required. It is strongly recommended, but it's not required. Some of us are better with online classes than others. Some of us kind of need that routine, that daily routine of having something established. That's what this is for. Some of us are independent and we can work through everything and we don't need anybody, you know? We don't need a man or we don't need a woman. That's fine. You are able to sit there and work through the Canvas shell at your own speed, as long as you get the assignments done in a timely manner when they're due. When they're not done in a timely manner, I will kind of point you out. I'll call up on you. I'll give you a text message or an email to sit there and say, hey, what's going on? Okay. Let me pull up because there's a lot of questions. The other thing is, you guys are not physically here. You're not expected to be here physically, right? I don't expect that of you. And anything that says that in your syllabus or anything like that, ignore that. It'll be corrected, okay? We had some issues. I was rebuilding my syllabus because I'm in the process of revamping the class so that it fits your needs. This class I've done it as a hybrid, and I've also done it as face-to-face. A long time ago, I did it all online. And I didn't want to use that material because we've gotten better. We've learned a lot more things since then. So I want to make sure that we give you the best education that we can possibly give you. So, but you're not expected to be here physically at all, but you are expected to participate. So what I mean in that regard, you need to ask questions like you guys have been doing. You're great at sending me emails to let me know that things are going on. You're allowed to text me. I gave you my personal cell phone number so that you're able to text me. Let me put my camera on so you guys can actually see me. Are you guys still with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, now I can hear you guys. See, I have technical difficulties. I have a really old computer. It's supposed to be updated any day now. If they don't get it updated, I'll get my Mac up and running so that it will actually be able to handle all of the things in the personal computer. So we'll be able to handle things because this is getting a little frustrating with other things. Okay, now there were questions about the lab kit. Now, first off, let's talk about partners. You're not required to have partners, right? The reason I recommend that you guys have partners is because I recognize how expensive the lab kit is. So the lab kit at the bookstore is like $420 something, which is insane, right? I've only paid for, actually that isn't true, paid for about 5 books that were about that price during my career as a college student. And that was a long, long time ago. So they're about $2,000 now, so which is ridiculous for a book or anything. So I recommended that you guys do lab partners to save you guys money. But also you should know that if you get it directly from whole science, scientific or interactive science, that link that I gave you, if you guys get it from there, it's cheaper. And so I would get it from there, even if I had a lab partner, to save myself some money, okay? I'm trying my best to cut costs for you, but we need to have a kit that you can physically do to account for the work that's being done in the laboratory, right? And you guys wanted to count at the institutions that you guys go to, so they need some type of physical laboratory that needs to be done. Now, the way that the labs are going to be done, what I need from you are 2 things. Of course, is to complete the assignment that is on the site. Now, Israel, which is going to be my TA for the class, He's actually going to help you guys go through it if you want that help. You can also just go through the site. The site has instructions. Sometimes they have little demos, but sometimes they're crappy demos and they're not as clear. So I have a backup in Israel to sit there and help you guys with that. I will be there for the first hour of Israel's meeting, but then afterwards I have other classes that I teach at the same time. My schedule is pretty impacted. I was going to do it myself, but it would have been done on the weekends and I'd have been cranky and all those things. And Israel is a much better and much more understanding because he's not as cranky as I am. So, the other question was, so do I have to come to class? Do I have to come to lab? So you don't have to come to class today or this class, but like I said, it's recommended. The recordings, I have pre-recordings that are already going to be up on the material that we're covering. What you're getting by coming to class, you get some of my incredible wit, real time. You get an opportunity to talk to me and ask me questions. You get an opportunity to yell at me, all of those great things that you guys could take advantage of. Now, if we're doing it all by the internet, emails, and things to that extent, it's going to take a little time because I have to go through and read all of those questions. You're not going to get as quick of a response. You're not going to get my beautiful face and my beautiful wit. Okay. So those are the pros and cons to that. Let's see. Active learning. So if you guys go through the process, if you have gone through the modules, you should be able to get through active learning with no problems. I ask that you guys please use your emails from campus for that activation so that we can kind of get everything linked up. You don't have to, but it helps us. It makes it a little bit easy for us. If you guys are struggling financially, right, and you're really concerned, what I need you to do is I need you to contact me personally, and then we would see what we can do for you to try to help those financial struggles. Because again, a $420 kit is insane, okay? We're gonna try to find ways to sit there and accommodate you guys better that are financially strapped. Now, if you're independently wealthy, hey, you can do what you need to do, right? Okay. Are there any questions so far? There was another question that was asked.
Yes, I had a question. In regards to the kit, does the school offer any discount codes or any financial assistance in regards to that?
That's what I was just talking about. So what you need to do is I need you to send me an email and we'll discuss that offline. So then that way I can kind of match things up, with financial aid. And so we can sit there and maybe help you with those costs or discounts or things to that extent. Because again, we want to try to make it affordable for our students. And we're in the process of trying to get that done as soon as possible. So I'm asking you guys, and I will be sending again an announcement saying all of this stuff. But let me know if you're financially strapped, if you're struggling financially. So yes, the answer is yes, but I need you to contact me. You need to give me your name and your student ID because we have to cross-reference, because we only have so many that we're able to offer. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help? Yeah, but that's a very good question. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question with the first assignment. That's the
Yes.
introduction of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been trying to upload my video on my school website, but it keeps failing. I've been trying to do that since yesterday.
And I can tell you part of the reason why that's happening is on our end. So as before, this class was not designed to be necessarily taught online. And so our infrastructure has to be modified so that I'll be able to handle your videos. Okay, so I've come up with a quick solution. That solution is most of you guys have Google accounts. So you guys have Google Drive, right? Do you guys have some type of cloud drive?
Yes.
Anyone? Yes. Okay. So, well, you can get a Google account for free. You can actually start storing pretty large videos and things like that up to a certain point for free. So what I recommend that you guys do is get either a Google account, or most of you guys have iPhones, you can get a free cloud drive to a certain point, number of gigs for the iCloud. Take advantage of those items. And then what I want you to do is to share the link. So what I've done, I modified your assignment so that you're able to give me
a link. So you can enter the link, share that link with me, right? And so by doing that, then I'm able to sit there and look at it. But you're gonna have to give me that link so that I can actually click on and give me permission to do that. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? And if you also notice, I've adjusted when that assignment was due. There will be other assignments that will be popping up. I will adjust those as well because, again, technical issues. When I imported the shells and the new revisions, part of it was not saved. It crashed in the same time that I was importing it. And so the modifications that I made to this assignment, which I wanted those questions, but there was a little more instructions and there's a little video as well that did show up because of some of the limitations. So I'm experiencing some of those kinks as well that you guys are experiencing, and we'll try to make improvements. There's no excuse. We need to get this stuff ironed out, but I'll do my best. I am human. I'm gonna make mistakes. If you guys keep me informed and keep messaging me the way you guys are, we'll get everything. We'll make it through this process. So, but I do have questions for you guys since you guys are here. How many of you guys like online classes? Really love them? It's your wheelhouse. It's what you do.
I do.
You do? Okay, cool. Yeah, some of us were really good at it. Some of us aren't, right? And so the reason why I do the lectures and we have that at least some type of connection is because of that. I will also have office hours, and they're going to be via Zoom. So real-time office hours, because it's great to get a message, but sometimes we miscommunicate things. And so I may not understand something that you said, and you may not understand something I said by messaging, by email or text messaging. So you can drop in those office hours. I'll be putting those up so that you guys know exactly when they are. I also have what I call the cocktail hour. During my cocktail hour, that's you can come in, you can talk about anything, hey, your life. We can talk about Oppenheimer. We can talk about anything that you guys want to. The point is to try to get that connection. We want to try to maintain that connection. You guys are also going to have a group project where you're going to be responsible for interacting with another group member. This group project consists of 3 major parts, and technically it's 4, and I'll tell you about the 4th one at the end. But the 3 major parts is it's going to be a parody. This year, since it is the 50th anniversary of the rap industry, so you guys are going to have different genres of rap that you're going to be working with. You're going to be given a topic in chemistry that you're going to be teaching to a class. So kind of teaching your colleagues, the people that are in the class with you, teaching kids that may be in high school or something along those lines. You'll have 20 minutes to give this presentation, and it is a group presentation. So it has to be done in a group format. I have talked to one of the communications instructor. He actually has helped my students out. My students had the opportunity to present at the Community College Innovation Challenge. It's basically a competition where they take proposals from community colleges all across the state, across the nation, and they then select 12 teams to come there and compete in person based on their presentation that they had submitted. So one of my groups, and I'll be totally honest with you, when they first started out, they had given their presentation, they had to give it twice for class. So it was a 1A class that they had to give it for. This is 2A, it's a little bit different, but and 1A is general chemistry. So first semester, they have a class, and then there's a sequence. So they have to take a second semester of chemistry. So they have to present the first one where they did all their research, and then the second one is where they actually start doing the projects. And so they presented that at both stages. And I'm going to tell you, they were probably the worst presenters I have ever seen in my life. They're going to get mad at me for saying it, but I told them that in person. So It was nothing personal against them. It was just a very, very, very poor and horrid presentations, and they got the grade that to reflect that. Now, the funny thing is that Mr. Grant, who is the communications instructor, he has a course. It's called Group Presentations. They didn't take that course, but they took a crash course. He worked with them for basically, they had 4 weeks of prep time to actually do it. They met 5 times during that 4-week period, and they went from total crap to incredible. They did so well that there's money involved in this competition. If you get first, you get 3,000. If you get second, you get 2,000. If you get third, you get 1,000. And then after that, it's 500. And then beyond that, nothing. Okay. So they ended up getting $500 at the end. They didn't get first. This is our first time going to the competition. Hopefully next year we're shooting for first. We were just happy to be there. And they did really well. And I have to give Mr. Grant all of the accolades to that. So if you haven't taken a communications class, communications is required for most of your majors. I strongly recommend that you and your group get into Mr. Grant's class for 2 reasons. One of those reasons is that he's willing to work with you guys specifically with your presentation. You have to do some other things in class, but part of your project will be your presentation that you'll be doing. That is the first thing. The second thing is that, of course, it counts for credit, right? So, and it will help you develop those skills to be an effective communicator in a group setting, and then also individually. It'll build you up. And if you want to be a leader, if you want to be the boss, if you want to sit there and move up in the ranks, you need to be an effective communicator. If you cannot communicate effectively, you will not succeed. Okay? You'll always end up being where you're at. Okay? Questions?
Yeah, and then concerning the textbook, are we allowed to use the 6th edition?
Oh, yes, that is a great question, man. You are asking all the correct questions. So you are able to use any edition except the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. Again, money is an issue, and I understand that. So if you guys can get a hold of it, it's great. If you also noticed, if you walked through the Canvas shell, there is a link that has a PDF. Now, that is technically a temporary version of the textbook, right? And so I would recommend that you get a textbook that you can use, because most of you guys are taking this for some other reason, right? So you guys are either planning to go into a nursing program that requires this, you're planning to go to a dental hygienist program, or you're planning to get your PCA license. It's always good to have a chem book on the shelf, because the fundamentals of chemistry don't change. We learn more, but the fundamentals don't change too much, okay? So I recommend that if you can get a hold of a copy, get a hold of a copy. It doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter the edition. You just got to look at your budget, see what would work with your budget and what you're planning to do. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody scared?
Me. I think we all are.
It says, so there's a question. It says, if we uploaded the already, you don't have to do anything, right? Yours was able to go in. What happened was that at a certain point, after this class is each of your sections, there's 50 students in your sections. That's the most that I've ever had in a section, because usually I'm face to face. So usually, if I'm lucky, if I get my 24, right? And then, but this is like, we've doubled that, and I can't get away with some of the things that I normally do, right? And I'm learning that the hard way. So again, you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit, especially in the beginning, because it's gonna be a little bit rough, like the buildings and stuff like that. We have a brand new building, and we're finding out that sometimes things that are brand new have issues. So there's little quirks that we need a recall on certain things. But that's another good question. So if you've already done it and it went through, you're okay. But the other thing that I want to say, when you do upload things, if you guys can do me a favor and make sure you upload it the right thing. So for instance, last semester I had a student that kept uploading their kinesiology homework, right? And I'm like, this is chemistry, this is not kinesiology, So make sure that you guys are uploading the right thing. And then there's another student that kept uploading blank pages. So they thought they were uploading something, but something happened on their end that the image that they were uploading did not work. The other thing is if you guys can upload it as a PDF. So by uploading it as a PDF, it makes it easier for me, so I don't have to try to convert it to a format that my computer can read. I will have a link that will help you with that. It's basically a little video that I found online. It'll show you how to do it with your phone. Are there any other questions?
Yes. Oh,
Okay. Go ahead, Mari.
for the participation / discussion, is that like participating in the Zoom calls or
No,
what?
no, participating, what I mean by in this context is participating online. So that means that you're participating in our discussions, right? You're asking questions, things like that. So I'm paying attention to those people who are interacting with me, right? I'm also taking a look to see whether or not you've opened the Canvas shell and did anything on it, so I pay attention to all those things. And so that's how you're getting graded on that. Again, you're not required to be here on the Zoom calls. It's just, again, it makes it easier for certain students to maintain structures. And my goal is I want to make sure that you guys all pass this class because I know you guys have big dreams and I want you guys to be able to change the world. But I want to make sure that you pass the class because you've earned it and you've got what you need and you've gotten the support that you need. We have a lot of tutoring support. We have a lot of things that are there to sit there and help you guys succeed. We want to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of that. And we want to make sure that you reach the goals that you want to reach. Okay. And let's see, there's a couple more questions, but let me answer the one that's on here. So what is the assignment of? Okay, so the student learning contract. So thank you. I'm glad you brought that one up. If you're trying to fill out the contract and you're having difficulties, one of the things that you want to look at is which browser you're using. Your browser is how you access the internet. If you guys have an HP or something like that, a lot of times they use the Microsoft given software. I think it's Microsoft Explorer or Microsoft Edge or something like that. Sometimes they do not work well with Proctorial. Proctorial works best on Chrome or Firefox. And then if you have a Mac, if you're using Safari, it will not work on Safari. So you want to download those browsers. So you want to go to Chrome and Firefox. Again, all of this is going to be, these questions, I'm trying to take note of them so that I include that in my announcement that I'll be sending out later.
I have a question about the kit. So
Yes.
Just a question. Let's say we purchased the kit and something happens to where we have to drop the class. Now, would that be reusable if I decide to take the class again next semester?
Yes, we're using, for this year, we're going to be using the same kit. We're probably going to use the same kit for the next semester, and then also so yes, you'll be able to transfer that over.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Good question. Any other question? Okay. Well, you guys have been great. Next week, we'll really get everything in gear. And then also you guys, I'm going to be opening up the next 2 shells for you guys this weekend. And then I just need to make sure that the assignments are fixed and appropriate, and then since I did have difficulties uploading the shell. So if you guys give me that week, I'll get you guys up and running so you guys can go ahead. Some of you guys will be like, oh, I know this already, and you're gonna whip through it. Some of you guys it's gonna take a little bit because we're a little rusty. And I'm trying to accommodate all those individuals. Okay. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys go. And then that gives me an opportunity to address some of your colleagues that didn't have the opportunity to make it. I know this was kind of last minute for a lot of people, and I apologize for that. We'll do a better job on our
I do have one more question. So it's two things that we have to purchase. It's not just the kit, right?
Yeah, so you also have to purchase a subscription to Active Learning, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, the book is also required. You'll notice that there is a copy of the book. It's called a temporary copy online for you guys to download. It's a PDF.
Yeah, I did see that. That's why that was my next question. So we can use that.
Yes, I'm encouraging you guys to use it.
Perfect.
So as the instructor, I don't know if you decide not to use it any further or anything like that. That's not my purview. My purview is just to tell you, hey, there's these books that are available. This is what I'm going to give you temporarily, but it's up to you to decide to do what you're going to do.